I want war with all of you. Write your articles, issue your statements, email the White House. I want war with all of you. Those are Candace Owens' exact words. And honestly, she's not playing around anymore. While everyone mourns Charlie Kirk, his widow Erika is already back on stage smiling, promoting new projects, and shutting down anyone who asks real questions. Something doesn't feel right here, and Candace is calling it out loud and clear. Look, Candace Owens just went completely nuclear on Erika Kirk, and this isn't just about grief. Candace believes there's active sabotage happening right now, people covering up what really happened to Charlie Kirk. Here's what we're going to unpack together. First, there's this shocking phone call discrepancy between Mikey McCoy and Erika Kirk. Their stories don't match up at all. Then we'll talk about why Candace thinks Erika's forgiveness speech came way too fast and felt totally calculated. We'll also dive into footage that mysteriously disappeared within minutes of the shooting, and how Turning Point USA insiders might be blocking the real investigation. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Candace said, "I know there's not much time," and what that really means. Trust me, this goes deeper than you think.
You get a phone call, okay, from whoever saying that the person that you love most in this world and the person that you are married to has been shot. How fast are you getting off that phone?
Mikey started calling me.
I called Erika.
Called me within seconds. And I'll never forget him just being like, Charlie's been shot. He's been shot. Get the kids. Get security. Get the kids. Get the kids. He's been shot. I sprinted out of her treatment center. Just collapsed in the middle of the parking lot.
Before I start this video, I want to let you know that I'm not going to cover what happened to Charlie Kirk, as everyone who clicked on this video already knows that. So let's get to the real sauce real quick. Now, Charlie even predicted his own death in messages from 2018. He literally told Candace, "I might not see this revolution through." That's chilling when you think about what happened years later. Now here's what's bothering Candace the most. Erika Kirk moved from grieving widow to CEO and chairman in just days. Instead of demanding answers like most people would, she's asking everyone for forgiveness and moving forward. Key evidence is being held back or cleaned up, and anyone who asks questions, they're getting labeled as conspiracy theorists or even anti-Christian. That's a pretty convenient way to shut people up, don't you think?
I'm going to zoom in on that here in a second, and then you can see him walking out on his phone behind the tent. Charlie is getting loaded into the van, and Mikey is seen over here, back turned on the phone. This is weird, right? But even weirder is this. Zooming in closer, Mikey's reaction right when Charlie was shot. Look, he pulls his phone out to his ear without even pressing any buttons. Watch closely. Arms folded, phone right to his ear.
Okay, this is where things get really weird. Within 834 milliseconds of the gunshot, less than 1 second, Mikey McCoy had his phone up to his ear. He walked away calmly. No panic, no ducking for cover, just walking and talking like he was ordering a pizza. Meanwhile, everyone else around him is screaming and running for their lives. Now, here's the contradiction that Candace can't get past. Pastor Rob McCoy, who's Mikey's father, claims that Mikey called me immediately and said, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck." But Erika Kirk now says, "I was on the phone with Mikey right after it happened." Both of these stories can't be true at the same time. So who's lying? And more importantly, why? This matters for a huge reason. The official timeline keeps changing. If Mikey knew it was a neck shot within seconds, how did he know that? Witnesses said there was no visible blood on Mikey, which contradicts Rob's claim that he had blood all over him. None of this adds up. Security experts have weighed in on this too. They say normal human reactions to a shooting are freeze in terror, try to help the victim, or run away as fast as you can. Mikey did none of these things. He calmly made a phone call and walked away from the scene. Candace asks the question we're all thinking. Who was he really calling? And why was that his first instinct? I don't know about you, but if my friend just got shot right next to me, my first move wouldn't be to pull out my phone and have a calm conversation. That's just not how people react to trauma.
And I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night. Okay. I don't know how you can present yourselves as a Christian organization and not be dedicating yourself to the truth. No matter what the cost is, you tell the truth. That's it. Okay. You don't hide it. You don't try to obfuscate it. You don't try to say, well, wait until the memorial event before we start looking into who murdered him. You tell the truth and you tell it immediately.
Let's talk about the timeline here because it's seriously troubling. September 10th, Charlie is killed. September 19th or 21st, so less than 2 weeks later, Erika gives a memorial speech calling for immediate forgiveness. That's less than 10 days from widow to I forgive the killer. Now look, everyone processes grief differently, but Candace noticed something that a lot of other people picked up on too. Erika's composure seems practiced, not broken. She's doing interviews, photo ops, and promotional work. Her message is always the same. Move forward, donate to Turning Point. This is what Charlie would want. But there are no demands for transparency, no public grief process, no anger whatsoever. Even Joe Rogan commented on this. He said, "When someone you know is shot, there's usually one reaction, shock. But Erika's reaction looked more like brand management than genuine grief. She's actively promoting TPUSA's future while Charlie's investigation stalls and goes nowhere." Candace put it perfectly. She said, "If my husband died like that, I'd tear the earth apart until I found out who did it and why." That's what most people would do, right? But instead, we're getting forgiveness without accountability. And as Candace says, that isn't noble, it's manipulation. Real transparency would mean releasing documents, naming names, and showing receipts. But we're not getting any of that. Just carefully worded statements about moving forward and healing. It feels calculated, like someone wrote a PR script and Erika is following it to the letter.
So I want to address this. So many people have been writing into us, sending us emails, people that are paying in super chats, asking me to address Erika Kirk. And I guess my question back would be, what is there for me to address? She hasn't sat down for a long interview. All we have seen from Erika has been the speech at the memorial event for Charlie Kirk. I see the innuendo that is online. I am interested in investigating who killed Charlie Kirk. And the people that I have been reserving my ire for, my smoke for, my investigation for, are the people that are blatantly lying, okay? People that are just lying about Charlie Kirk. That was my reason for going after Alex Clark. She lied about the Catholic thing. That was my reason for going after Andrew Colvett, Mikey McCoy. Anybody that's told a lie, Rob McCoy, blood all over him, you got my attention. What lie has Erika told that I'm supposed to be focused on? Okay, like, has she said something about, did she come out and say, Charlie never had an issue? I just think it's like, I don't know, it just feels so unfair to me to assign the amount of pressure that is on her right now. She has not come out and said anything to me that makes her suspicious, because I understand how that organ works. And I understand how people, when they are motivated by money, how they don't even think about these things. It can be so gross. See this go out, irrespective of how you feel. You should know that those decisions are not made by Erika. That's what it means to step into a company of that size and that scale, okay? Their focus is going to be something different. And she has had, I think, a tremendous amount of grace in the speech that she gave, which I thought was very inspiring. And we should similarly have grace, give her time to get her, first and foremost.
Here's where things go from suspicious to downright alarming. Within 4 minutes of the shooting, a Turning Point staffer removed a surveillance camera. Not just any camera. When questioned about this, the staffer told Candace, "I did it to protect Erika from seeing traumatic footage." But here's the problem with that excuse. Candace actually saw the footage on FaceTime. She says there was no visible blood, and it was actually the least traumatic angle of all the footage. So why was grabbing that camera the first priority instead of preserving a crime scene? And why hasn't any of this footage been publicly released? TPUSA promised a full transparency report. We're still waiting. Nothing has been released. Then there's the ballistics mystery that gun experts can't wrap their heads around. The official story says it was a high-powered rifle at close range. Experts say that caliber should have gone straight through a human body, no question. But the official response? Charlie's bones were so dense, like Man of Steel, it stopped the bullet. Gun experts are calling nonsense on this. One said, "That makes no sense. This caliber would drop a moose." What Candace found even more suspicious is this. The area where Charlie stood was quickly repaved within 48 hours. Why the rush? There were also underground tunnels and access points beneath that stage. Could someone have shot from below instead of from a distance? It's a theory worth exploring, but nobody's allowed to ask these questions without getting attacked. Now let's talk about the people inside Turning Point USA who aren't talking. First up is Tyler Bauer, TPUSA's COO. There are allegations about him getting close to young male interns. He's tied to a suspicious orphanage project in Ukraine. And here's an interesting detail. He's the one who introduced Charlie to Erika originally. Was that strategic? We don't know, but it's worth noting. Then there's Mikey McCoy. He became chief of staff in January 2024. Many TPUSA insiders felt like he was being positioned to take over, even before Charlie died. His father, Rob McCoy, co-chairs the TPUSA Faith Division. After Charlie's death, the power structure stayed completely intact. Doesn't that strike you as convenient? There's also this Mormon and faith angle that keeps coming up. Tyler Bauer is a fluent Russian speaker who studied Soviet studies and got involved with Ukrainian orphanages. Multiple TPUSA insiders are Mormon or have Eastern European connections. Charlie was turning Catholic and distancing himself from Christian Zionism. Days before his death, he was being pressured by donors about his stance on Israel. Candace's theory is blunt. This feels like a hostile takeover of a company. People within that company betrayed Charlie. If you're a rat on a ship, you should flee now. And here's the bombshell. Candace reveals that someone at TPUSA has a text message from Charlie the day before his death that says, "They are going to kill me." Let that sink in. Charlie knew. He saw it coming.
I think it's the most responsible. Why would they want him gone?
I think Charlie was not allowed to be anything but a Christian Zionist. And he was changing in the last few weeks. When I look at the timeline that I put together, some weird stuff, this Egyptian plane that started tracking him, everything began ratcheting up after Tucker Carlson hit the stage. And
in July.
Mm-hmm,
Oh yeah, I was there for that. Yeah.
That pissed
him off.
That was a something.
Yeah.
So I think Charlie was done. As Megan showed the video, he was telling Tucker to go max. All of the things that they lied about, we've now proven. And why were they lying about it? That's why this is the thing. Why lie if you have nothing to cover up? That's my common sense here. You only lie because you have something to cover up. No matter what the lie is you only lie because there's something that you're hiding. So if they had all come out right when Charlie died, if Seth Dillon, who pressed Charlie in the Hamptons, was like, "Oh my gosh, my biggest regret is the last time I saw Charlie."
This is where the investigation takes a turn into truly bizarre territory. Days before the shooting, a military plane from Egypt landed in Provo. The same plane arrived full and left mostly empty hours after Charlie died. A second Egyptian plane left 3 days later. And get this plane had been tracked near TPUSA events for years. Candace discovered a timeline pattern that's impossible to ignore. From 2023 to 2025, every time Egyptian military planes came to the US, they landed near TPUSA faith events. Lincoln, Nebraska chapter started days after a plane arrival. Kansas events coincided with plane presence. And the Utah event, that was the final plane arrival before the assassination. There are also money questions that nobody wants to answer. Insiders say Charlie didn't actually know where TPUSA money was coming from or going. He established an internal Doge team to investigate the organization's finances. Multiple people report money looking funny, large sums coming in and going out fast. Sean Foy, a TPUSA faith contributor, was accused of fraud and embezzlement, using ministry funds for personal expenses. And then there's the pressure from donors. After Tucker Carlson gave an Israel-critical speech at TPUSA, donors panicked. Charlie was taken to the Hamptons for what people are calling an intervention about his Israel views. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu personally called Charlie, invited him to Israel, and offered major funding. Charlie declined, saying, "I don't know where this money is coming from." 2 weeks later, Charlie was dead. Coincidence? Maybe, but it's one heck of a coincidence.
It's so easy to be in a position of feeling regret when you lose someone you love. And I tried to read a book by C.S. Lewis because he lost the love of his life. He was only married to her for 4 years. It's called A Grief Observed. And it was a very hard book to read. Not because it was about grief, but because in the opening pages he talked about how angry he was with God.
The FBI's handling of this case is full of contradictions. First, they said Tyler Robinson turned himself in and confessed. Later, they said Robinson refuses to cooperate and answers no questions. Which is it? The text messages they released looked staged. One allegedly said, "Remember, it was only me. Don't look for anyone else." Who texts like that? It reads like a script. They also claimed a bullet was engraved with a message, which is physically impossible for that caliber. Any gun expert will tell you that. Kash Patel, after massive online pressure, had the FBI release a statement addressing conspiracies. They claimed to investigate hand gestures, plane transponders, and bullet angles. But they offered no concrete evidence or actual transparency. Candace fired back. You're playing defense because you haven't been playing offense. Meanwhile, mainstream media outlets are calling Candace a conspiracy theorist, but refuse to explain the actual inconsistencies. Anyone questioning the official story gets labeled unchristian or disrespectful. Christian Zionist influencers have been particularly aggressive in shutting down questions. It's almost like they have something to protect. Erika recently called for cameras in the courtroom for transparency. She says there's nothing to hide, but she still hasn't released TPUSA's own footage or documents. Critics say it's a strategic move to look transparent without actually being transparent. And honestly, that tracks with everything else we've seen.
Fairness of it drives you crazy. And it's particularly galling in the case of Jeffrey Epstein and the whole constellation of people around Jeffrey Epstein, all of whom seem to be getting away with scams. And how do you know they're getting away with scams? I'll tell you how, because they're useless and they're rich. So how do you come to a place where some of the least impressive, most useless people who have no actual skills become billionaires? How's that legitimate? And by the way, if you ask this question, at least in Washington, it's like, oh, well, yeah, it sounds like you're a socialist. Sounds like socialism. Yeah, okay, I'm a socialist now. All right. I was a Qatari agent or a bigot. Now I'm a socialist. All right. Leaving aside my committed socialism, can you answer the question? How did Bill Ackman get $9 billion? Bill Ackman, a pretty impressive guy? I know Bill Ackman. No. Bill Ackman's like well-connected and super aggressive. That's it. And I think, well-connected, super aggressive people deserve a fair living like everybody else. But if you're accruing $9 million just because you're willing to do anything, I don't know why we have to pretend that's good. How did Epstein get 4 Gulf Streams? How did he get an island, a massive ranch in New Mexico, the biggest house in New York? Like, what is that? Like, at some point, the basic economics really matter. And they matter because not that it's bad that rich people are getting richer, it's bad that everyone else is getting poorer.
This story isn't just about one man's death. It's about power, money, faith organizations, and foreign influence. There's a disturbing pattern of random shootings near military and intelligence figures. Remember Michael Hastings? He exposed a US general and then mysteriously died in a car explosion. Convenient deaths happen when people get too close to the truth. Candace has been digging into faith infiltration, and what she's found is concerning. Calvary Chapel connections to multiple scandals. Lou Taylor, yes, the woman involved in Britney Spears' conservatorship is linked to Calvary Chapel. There's heavy Mormon and LDS presence in intelligence recruitment. Christian Zionism is being used to control political messaging. Megachurches have unexplained cash flow. Remember Joel Osteen's wall money incident? Charlie's final warnings are haunting. In 2018, he texted Candace, "I might not see the end of this revolution. I dream about dying young all the time. I knew from the start of TPUSA that I might get wiped out." He told Tucker Carlson backstage before that controversial speech, "Go hard on Israel." Days later, donors intervened and demanded he stay pro-Israel. He refused their money. Then he was killed. The dots are connecting, and the picture they form is terrifying. So where do things stand right now? Erika Kirk continues doing interviews and running TPUSA. There's no major news coverage of the investigation inconsistencies. Tyler Robinson sits in custody with no known trial date. And Candace? She continues investigating despite constant threats and attacks. Candace's message is crystal clear. I demand truth. Christ is truth. You can forgive, but you must also seek accountability. The only person who can stop me is Erika Kirk herself, if she asks me to stop. I'm not backing down. If telling the truth makes me crazy, call me insane. Here's what I want you to do. Think about everything we just went through. What do you think really happened? Do Erika's actions seem normal for someone who just lost their husband? Drop your theories in the comments below. Are we looking at a massive cover-up, or is grief just being handled differently than we expect? The investigation continues. Truth doesn't hide, it just waits to be found. See you next time.